how's it going, everyone? Just kind of want to go over make a video today because I haven't really made a video for a really long time, and I've been saying I want to get active on YouTube, um, but just haven't really been able to get a chance to. But I'm actually really excited right now, just because it looks like the volume's actually back. Like we've been waiting. Slow months are obviously December, January, February wasn't that great of a month. It was actually kind of slow as well. Um, didn't really make a great return on in February, only like 6%. So very slow month. Disappointing, but this month was amazing. We were able to catch a lot of trades, and it was all pretty high volume moves. So pretty excited to see that. I want to kind of go over a couple of the trades here, a couple of the setups, um, just so you guys can kind of see like kind of how I'm trading. And yeah, stick around because I actually have a surprise for you guys at the end there. So basically, we have a pretty much a trading setup here. Very simple stuff. First trade of the month, obviously March 1st. So first trade of the month, I actually took this one, pretty late night trade, but it was very simple setup. We obviously had a resistance here, and then of course we had a break above. We kind of had like a continuation pattern here after this candle came up and closed very bullish above the previous wicks here. So realistically, I'm just looking at just straight price action here. We got a break and we got a retest of that resistance, and I ended up taking the buy at the closure of that candle, and we were able to catch a move up. This was pretty late at night, so I actually just set and forget this trade, so it can actually just run up to the TP. By the time I got up in the morning, everything was already hit, and pretty much was able to just get out of the trade there. So other than that, of course, later on, the next day, we got Tuesday coming around. Tuesday was a really interesting day. We had a, let me take off the magnet tool for this. So we had a support here that was a previous support that became resistance. Looking at the chart, I normally get on the chart like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So seeing that price wasn't able to make a support here, that's what I was anticipating to see. Of course, here at this 7:45 candle, 8 o'clock candle, price actually came back down a little bit, and then we ended up trying to see that same pattern again here. So we had that retest of the level. We had a bullish close, very strong. I wasn't gonna go on this initially just because we had this huge liquidity grab to the downside, but we had a pretty strong closure and price actually broke above the previous wick. So I figured that we would actually have a continuation at least to the previous highs. Unfortunately, the next candle was a bearish candle. I ended up staying with it because I figured that maybe we would create another support here to continue up, but of course the next candle after that was just a straight bearish candle that just completely wiped me out. So then, seeing that we came down with a lot of volume and a lot of aggression, I actually decided to flip my bias, which is actually against my rules. And of course, I ended up closing this trade out early because of that. But let me show you guys exactly where my mind was for this. So, seeing as we had a support here, right? So we had a little bit of support here. I'll actually bring this down a bit. So let's adjust that, clean that up. So we had a little bit of support here. We were coming down pretty aggressively, and then we got this little bit of a retest here with this bull candle and this bearish candle, which created another resistance. So seeing that, I ended up taking the sell here on the closure of this bearish candle. So I took the sell here, and immediately this candle started moving down, right? So you would think, yeah, that's great for you. Immediately as soon as you enter, the candle starts moving into profits. But if you understand how candles print, then you can kind of predict how they're going to close, right? So with the opening, seeing that price move down first without actually making a liquidity grab to the top, making a wick, like a top wick, it's just moved down without giving me that wick. So because we didn't have that liquidity grab, I was a little bit concerned in the first place. Price kind of moved down really aggressively. There was a support here. Price rejected off of that, moved up very quickly back to our entry, and I ended up closing out pretty much break even, just because I was a little bit worried about this trade and I thought it was going to go against me. I was kind of disappointed after I saw this bearish candle because I thought it was actually going to give us the trade in the continuation. Luckily, I didn't FOMO in and try to jump in on that sell. I left it alone because I didn't want to overtrade. I already took 2 trades, so I was like, you know what, that's it, I'm out. And of course, it went against me anyway, so good thing I was able to get out with a break-even trade. But we did take a 1% loss for that day with this first initial move. All right, so moving on from that as well, we had another similar setup where we had a break even and then a loss. So basically here, my thinking here was we had a 4-hour support. So let's bring that up. That was here. So this looked like a pretty strong support as well, right? So we're looking at this area here. We had a very strong support. We got a couple taps here. I thought we were actually going to move a little bit higher, especially because we kind of made a higher high here. So I thought we were actually going to continue moving higher, but of course price actually went down, as you can see in retrospect. So what I was looking at for this trade was I was anticipating price continue moving up. I normally don't go off the first bounce. I normally go off the second bounce. But basically we had this first support get created here on the 15-minute. So I took the trade initially, and then I told everyone, you know what, let's actually get out. So we actually got out when this kind of moved up a little bit, and we got out with a 0.2. So basically break even. To close out that trade a little early, we kind of just waited. And then we took this trade afterwards because we had another support here. We had this bullish candle closing above the previous candles. It all made sense from a technical analysis standpoint, but of course, price actually just kind of reversed on us and closed us out after kind of pushing into profit, which is kind of disappointing as well. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Just the probabilities wasn't in our favor for that particular day. So we ended up losing this trade again. So we lost another 1% day. Still in 1% up because we took a 3% dub on the Monday. So it's not too bad. Still up 1% for the week overall. Then on the Thursday, really disappointing because I don't understand how I didn't see this, right? So we actually had a double top scenario here on the 15-minute, and then on the 30-minute, it was actually very clear that we broke the support here. We were breaking the low here. This was also a previous 4-hour support that turned resistance. So I don't understand why I didn't take the sell here. I'm actually gonna go back and look over my Zoom call and rewatch it just because I'm kind of confused on how I didn't see that sell, because this was a pretty obvious sell to catch that move down, and it's really disappointing that I didn't do it. So yeah, definitely stupid on my end. But then Friday came around, and Friday was just absolutely amazing. And this is when I kind of realized that price is actually moving well, because we had all these big candle movements on the Thursday, and then on the Friday we had this setup, which was pretty simple as well, break and retest. We had a resistance here, right? So of course we could see, if I highlight this out, you see that there's a range here, right? So price was ranging, and we had a resistance here, which was broken out of on this candle here, which was 7:15. So I don't get on the chart till 7:30. So seeing this this test, I probably, if I was up earlier, I would have taken the trade. But at the same time, well, not that I was up early. If it was into the New York session, I would have taken the trade, but it's before my trading time, so obviously I wouldn't take that setup. But essentially, this is what I would be looking for anyways. But when I came on the chart, I saw that we had this, then we had another continuation candle here. But because we had news at 8:30, I think it was CPI or PPI. No, I was pretty sure CPI. So we had news at 8:30. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for the trade. I'm not gonna jump ahead of myself. I'm gonna wait for it. And of course, right at 8:30, we had this crazy liquidity grab, wicked all the way down, right? And then price started coming back up immediately. And of course, in my mind, well, realistically, I don't trade news. I only trade technical analysis. I don't do fundamental, so I don't really jump into news. I kind of just stay out of the market when that happens. But because we had this setup originally, if there was no news or anything like that, and I jumped on the chart, I would have entered on the close of this candle and had my stops below the support. So I kept that same setup in my mind, even though we had this crazy wick. I kind of just ignored the wick in my mind and decided to focus on what was happening prior to the news. So as price came back up and we hit this level, we entered in on this trade again. This was all called live on the Zoom. We entered on this trade right here, right where the initial entry would have been. Kept the stops below, had the 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio because I like to aim for my 1 to 3s. Normally I like to take off a percentage once I hit my 1 to 3, like 80% or so, 70%, leave runners. But of course, because the volume was dead, I haven't been doing that. I've been taking off full positions at 1 to 3. So we were able to hit that 1 to 3 relatively quickly. Great trade for the Friday. And then we had a pullback and then a continuous move up. And I don't know what possessed us to stay on. I normally don't trade crazy on Fridays. I normally don't like to trade at all on Fridays. But for some reason, we were just possessed that day and we decided to stay in it. And obviously we have this resistance here, right? So obviously we have this resistance here, and price came back up pretty aggressively. We had that same kind of break and retest, and we took a second position on this trade again, caught our 1 to 3, and we were out. We were completely done for the day. 2 trades, 6% for our Friday. Absolutely amazing. Really excited to see that, and of course we kind of just stayed out from there, just because there's no point of actually over trading and losing profits, especially on a Friday. So this was actually pretty good because although we were only up 1% for the week because of these other kind of crappy trades, we were able to catch these 2 trades on a Friday and close us out with 7% game. So that was actually really exciting. Not even including the gold trades that we were able to take as well. So pretty good week, and I'm just seeing these price movements right now, just showing me that there's actually some volume. So even if you look at these candles, so look at this from week one, right? You see like this kind of just ranging, very small price action, and obviously on Thursday and Friday we're seeing these fluctuations, and then look at this, right? So we're seeing more movement into this week, right? We're actually moving out of ranges. So that's kind of what I'm excited for, and that's what I'm really looking at. Of course, let's look at a couple other movements here. So we had a simple setup, right? We had a resistance here. So let's see if we can grab this. I think we were looking at this here. So I had that resistance. Let's take a look at the higher time frames. So we had this resistance here. You can see it better on the 1 hour. So I actually took this. I think this was an impulse entry. Looking at it now, this is an impulse entry. I took it at the break of the 1 hour high here, as we were breaking the resistance here. So I'm pretty sure that's how I had my setup. Let's look at the 30-minute as well, just to double check. Yeah, I think it was it was the 30-minute break. So I took this because we had that resistance on the 30-minute. We had the break of the high, this candle here, the break of the high, the resistance, and I had my stop loss behind that. So that's exactly why I took this trade. So yeah, that's initially why I took that trade there. And I closed out early on this trade. So I actually had my stops at break even. Pretty disappointing to see that, because I already put my stops at break even. My trade was risk free, but for some reason in my mind, I decided to get out of the trade early, instead of actually just waiting and following my rules. Just because we kind of had this weird like wick saw in like both directions, right? So this candle was really kind of hard to read. So I know I keep switching time frames on you guys, but kind of just trying to show you the different time frames of what I was looking at. So pretty much looking at 15-minute, you can kind of see we had this kind of like deep liquidity grab, which is okay because I was kind of expecting that anyways, because the 4-hour candle closes at 9 o'clock. So seeing that pullback, also we had New York Stock Exchange open, right? So at 9:30. So obviously I'm expecting some kind of like a pullback and liquidity grab on the new 4-hour candle. So that was something I was kind of already prepared for. What I wasn't expecting now was to see this next candle come down bearish and aggressive. So that was kind of concerning for me, and I did end up getting out of the trade, seeing this about to close bearish. So I ended up getting out of the trade. Disappointing, because the next candle opened up and shot right through the roof and would have been right at my 1 to 3 TP. So that's really disappointing to see, but it is what it is. I'm just kind of sticking around and catching another sell later. Simply, this was very simple analysis. It was just looking at the 1 hour, seeing that we had a double top scenario from the previous all-time highs, and it was really easy kind of just to see like, all right, we should be careful here. So let's see. All right, here we go. So we had a resistance from here, right? We had a resistance. We had a double top scenario going on the 4 hour, and on the 1 hour you can see here. So after seeing that, it was pretty simple that I was kind of just looking for potential pullback and some sell opportunities. So basically we had a pretty aggressive 1 hour candle, as you just saw, that was bearish. Then we had a little bit of a retest of that level, and I took an impulse entry off the 15-minute break of the low here. So I took a break of the low here candle, break the low of this candle, and had my stops above that 15-minute candle, and we were able to catch a 1 to 3 out of it quickly right before the market actually closed for the day. So that was pretty good. We were able to catch out of it. I closed a little bit early. I think I got like a 2.7%, 2.8%. Closed a little bit before TP, just because of that. The market was about to close, and I was kind of just not being too greedy. Didn't need it to hit TP, and closed just a little bit early on that one. So that was pretty good. I were able to catch that as well. These are pretty simple setups. Obviously, you can see price was ranging here, right? In this whole range, price was ranging. We had a resistance. So we had a resistance all over here, right? And so try to take it back a little bit, try to see what I was seeing. And so this might look like really bad price action, but essentially we had a little bit of a rejection from this level here, and then this candle was coming up. We already had that liquidity grab to the bottom, and this candle was coming up very bullish and very strong, right? And we're breaking the high here. So I took the trade off the break of the high, and of course this candle decides to pull all the way back down to where it opened. And the only reason why I stayed in this trade is because on the 30-minute, it still remained bullish. So realistically, I would have jumped ship on that trade immediately. Where the hell is that trade right now? Right here. So I definitely would have jumped ship immediately, but the 30-minute candle was still bullish. So I kind of just said, you know what, the candle's still bullish. The trade still pretty much makes sense at this point. So you know what, I'm gonna stay in the trade. We ended up holding it, and it paid off. We didn't hit the full 1 to 3. Obviously, we didn't hit TP, but you know, we were able to catch a little bit of a move here. I had my stops at risk free, but because we had the same all-time high level again, right, coming into play, uh, then we had I was kind of concerned about rejecting from this level as well. So looking at the 15-minute, I decided to get a little bit early. We already were up 1 to 1.36. So as I put my stops right behind this bullish candle here, as price kind of rejected this level and came down, I got wiped out, got stopped out on this candle. Although it was kind of risk free, I could have let the trade run, but good thing I didn't, because it actually just rejected against us. Once I saw that double top scenario on the 1 hour, I already knew that I was going for sells again, similar to the same setup I was looking for here. So once I saw that 1 hour rejection here and we closed bearish, I went back to the 15-minute. I was looking for a continuation pattern, or there's something to give me a confirmation for a sell. Of course, we had this bullish candle come up, but there was no wick at the bottom. We had the next candle come down bearish, breaking the low. I took an impulse entry. I initially wanted to catch it right off the low here, but it was pretty early in the 15-minute candle, so I didn't really want to jump in too quick like that. So I ended up getting a little bit lower of an entry, but got in. Had my stops above this level here, and of course we were able to milk out that 1 to 3. Got that 3% gain for the day plus that 1%. So we had almost 4.5% gain for, what is this, Tuesday, which was pretty good. I was actually really excited about that. But just seeing this volume, seeing price jumping back and forth between different ranges, just shows us that, okay, it looks like volume is back again. We're back at it again, which is amazing. We had a resistance here as well, because we got another trade here. So it's pretty simple stuff. Obviously, we have these 4-hour. Oh, thought I clicked that. We have this 4-hour resistance here, right? So looking at the 15-minute, I saw price moving up pretty aggressively. We had a retest here with this 15-minute candle. We had a bullish close, which created another support. So turned old resistance to new support. Pretty simple stuff. Caught our entry. Was able to ride this up, catch a 3%. Closed a little bit early on this one too. I think I got 2.8 risk to reward ratio, so I got 2.8% on that trade. I was gonna let it run, but of course I kind of got a little bit worried after we started seeing a little bit of rejection here, and we were so close to the TP. And sometimes I get too greedy and I like to leave my TP, and it ends up coming down and getting a 2.5. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just close with a 2.8 versus getting a 2.5%. So of course I closed a little early, caught that trade, but it's very simple stuff, simple break and retest. Simple once again here. Okay, so this trade is actually really interesting. So this trade is the trade we took yesterday. I took the trade twice, so it's kind of this one was actually really hard. It was touch and go, but basically we had a resistance here, right? So we had a resistance here, and I saw this trade coming up, and we were breaking the high of this candle here. And normally I wouldn't do this, but if you look at the other time frames, look at the 30-minute, for example, we had that resistance. We kind of had this candle coming up looking nice and neat, but of course, when I was talking about that other trade setup where we had CPI come in and we had that deep liquidity grab right here, and I ended up catching the impulse entry after the liquidity grab. That was the exact same mindset I had going into this trade as well, right? So basically, we saw the crazy liquidity grab off the news, all fundamental, and then price card started coming back up in the initial direction that the technicals were showing us. And of course, as we broke that high here, I took the trade and had my stops with the initial stops that I would have had if we didn't see that chaos from the fundamental, right? So basically, had the impulse entry, price kind of went up, of course continued my direction, but then we had this bearish 15-minute candle, and in my mind I was thinking, you know what, we might have an actual retest of this level, so maybe the next candle's actually continue down, give us a retest, make a lower support, then we could take the entry again. And because I was a little worried that I wasn't sure how deep the liquidity grab would be when it did make that retest, I ended up just kind of closing the trade out as soon as this candle closed. When it closed bearish, I just got out of it and I said, you know what, if we create another support here, I will enter the trade and give the trade a second chance. But of course, it kind of just punched down to our entry and then just wicked right back up and then gave us that bullish close. So I ended up re-entering on the trade with a worse position than I already had, because I would have already had my 1 to 3. So yeah, my 1 to 3 was here. I would have had like full 3% TP, but of course I didn't end up getting that just simply because I had to. I was a little bit worried about how deep that liquidity grab would be, and I got in on this trade. It's okay. I still made about 2% for the day. Wasn't my 3%, but it's okay. It is what it is. I will accept it as long as I'm seeing blue profits at the end of the day. I'm not really gonna complain. But basically what I got out here is because we saw some exhaustion from the price action here. So we're seeing some wick rejections. Although we're making higher highs here, we were seeing that price wasn't really closing above, and it wasn't really we weren't really getting strong candles. And even on the other side, there wasn't really anything going on here. So I didn't really like the way candles are printing. So after this candle came down and closed bearish, I just got out of the trade. Just because I figured we probably were going to break this support here and continue lower, which we did. I wasn't looking for another sell. I wasn't going to be greedy. I already took 2 trades for the day, and I was like, you know what, I'm out. Of course, there was a sell opportunity here, which would have been great because we did come back up and like kind of make a lower resistance here and break the low here and continue down. There was great trade opportunity there, but of course, I wasn't even on the chart at that point because I already took 2 trades, and I didn't want to just throw away profits like that when I was already up 2%. There's no point of risking it, right? So let's move on, and of course the trade for today. So this trade, really easy, really simple stuff. We had similar pattern, break and retest. We had a resistance here, price broke above, we got the retest, and I was actually going to enter a second position on this retest, but I didn't. I ended up just taking the break of the high. Initially I wanted to enter off the 30-minute break, so I was looking at the 30-minute here. We had a resistance here as well, right, which turned support, and then this candle came up and it broke the high here. So initially I wanted to actually enter on this and catch my entry from here, which would have been really easy because I would have had a smaller stop, about 70, almost 80 points. So it would have been a lot easier to actually catch my 1 to 3 if I had my initial entry there. So I'll show you guys the risk to reward here. So this would have been my entry, and it would have been a lot. So here would have been my 1 to 3. So I would have had to only catch about 80 points less if I had caught the entry from there, but I didn't see it right away. Took a step away from the computer just for a second, and of course price was already moving, but I ended up taking the break of the high of the 1 hour bearish candle with the same stops, and then of course price has been moving up nicely so far. I actually haven't adjusted my stop yet, so I'm actually gonna move my stop behind this bullish candle here on the 1 hour. I'm actually moving my stop here and leave the rest to run. Time is now 3 o'clock. I'm actually gonna close off my full position, matter of fact, just because it is 3 o'clock already and market's about to close. Not gonna be able to secure everything, but it's a 1 to 1.5. You know what? It's not bad. I'm actually gonna grab my phone. Let's close that off. I'm making this video right now. So there you go. Perfect. I'm out. Safe. There you go. Protect my profits and close with about 1.5%. So not too bad. At least it's still a dub at the end of the day. So basically that's really it. This is what the trades that we had. I'm showing you guys kind of like what I'm looking at when I'm jumping on the chart, how I'm taking these trades, how I'm kind of managing them, and yeah, like, so basically I had a surprise for you guys, and what I want to say is because I'm liking the way the volume's picking up and because I'm feeling so confident with the trading so far, I figured, you know what, let's actually do some live trading. So I actually do my Zoom calls in the mornings where I live trade with some of my acquaintances, and now I'm looking to do a live stream once a week on YouTube to help you guys actually trade with me and show you guys how just to trade price action versus using all the other tools that other people will tell you, using moving averages and Fibonacci's and all that other stuff. It's all great, but at the same time, price action is really just the sole strategy you really need when trading, because the candles tell you what they're going to do, right? Fibonacci is just a measure to measure pullbacks and things like that. And then trend lines are all subjective, really, right? So they're not, you can really draw them wherever you need them. just to kind of assist your analysis and things like that. And moving averages kind of just tell you what price has done. It's not going to really tell you what price is going to do. So realistically, I just want to show you guys better, just an advanced way of trading, not advanced way of trading, but just show you guys another way of trading to help you guys along your trading journey and hopefully get a little bit better. And trading alongside me once a week should bring you guys like an insight of what I'm thinking while I'm trading, and maybe you guys can apply those same strategies to your trading style. Let's actually just take a look at gold, because gold has been a game. Gold has been an absolute joke. Like, let's actually pull these up just quickly. Gold has been a joke, man. So I think some of these are actually old because I didn't take this many gold trades. Yeah, some of these are old, but like, even look at this. This has been a joke, just seeing this thing move down. Obviously, like I said earlier, trend lines are just subjective. So this trend line's here. This hasn't been touched again. You know what I mean? So it's not like you can just kind of draw these things and just wait and rely on them. And I'm not going to adjust it. I'm leaving it where it is. But of course, we were able to catch some nice sells on this. But in the day, it did come down to just simple price action as we were pulling up to previous resistance levels and support levels. But this has been really easy and simple to trade lately. This is still February. Let me go to March. So March, we were able to catch a nice little trade here. Simple trade down, very simple. Of course, I got wiped out on this trade. I have a little note for myself: 4 hour resistance rejecting the 1 hour. Went for sells. So I should have went for sells. Okay, let's see. We have a 4 hour support here. 4 hour resistance, I was saying, was being rejected. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So of course we have a range here, right? So price was just kind of ranging around this time. And yeah, definitely I should have went for sells. So let's see what time this is. 8 o'clock. So this was during New York session. So realistically, let me just adjust these levels. Let me hide this for a second too. So obviously I did get wiped out there. But realistically, there was a 4 hour resistance here, 4 hour support. And during New York session, this is 8 o'clock candle here, right? 10 o'clock candle here. We had a double top scenario. This should have been definitely an indicator that, okay, you know what, we're actually rejecting this resistance, and I should be looking for sells, having my, let me just adjust that to, should have been looking for sells, have my stop above the level there, and actually catch my trade in the opposite direction. But for some reason, I went for buys during a bearish trend, which is really stupid when you really think about it. Like, stick with the trend. Doesn't make sense to trade against the trend. I don't know why I took that buy there. Pretty stupid. Of course, I guess I closed out a little bit earlier than the position itself. Let's take a look here. So I closed out. So I didn't take a huge loss, but still at the same time, I still took a loss, which I shouldn't have, because I shouldn't have taken a buy there. Should have definitely looked for that sell, and I missed that double top scenario because of that. So you pay for stupidity. That's really what it is. So I guess we had that 4 hour support here that came up and got retested, and then I was looking for a sell afterwards. After we had that initial rejection, we created a lower resistance, had my stops above. I only caught a 1 to 1.6 on this, so I think I actually just closed it because we had this level coming up. So I ended up just closing early just because I was worried about a rejection instead of just waiting and holding it for the full 1 to 3. But I think I could have squeezed the 1 to 3 out of that. So I probably should have held that a little bit longer, but still caught the trade nonetheless. Still a winning trade. And then moving on to the trade. So this trade was actually really disappointing for me because I should have held this entire trade out, which I didn't. I was actually gonna move my stops to break even, and then I ended up just closing out the trade because we were ranging right here. So stupid. I didn't like the way this trade was ranging, and then of course overnight it just went straight to my TP. So disappointing. Woke up this morning looking at that, I was like, damn, really should have held that. I know a few other guys actually held the trade, and good on them for that. But of course I closed out because it was ranging, and like an idiot, I missed out on that 3% gain for the Friday. But it is what it is. It's all good. Still great. Loving the fact that we're seeing this volume here in March, and I'm really looking forward to it to continue. So definitely, I'm gonna start streaming on YouTube, live streaming some trading sessions just so you guys can be at it. We're not on for too long. We'll be on by 8 o'clock, 7:30. I'll be doing it for 8 o'clock, and then I'll be staying on for 3 hours or 4 hours, so till 12 probably, 11, 12 o'clock, and then we're gonna be taking some trades together. So definitely put that in your calendar, turn on notifications so you guys can actually get the notification when I do start the live stream up, just so you guys can get involved and be on there with me. So I'm thinking maybe Wednesdays, thinking about doing middle of the week Wednesdays. I might change them just depending. I'm going to look at the news patterns so I can see what's the most busiest days for news, so we can avoid those days and just stick to days that are actually just kind of clear. But I'm gonna set one particular day of the week to do. I'm probably gonna do Tuesdays, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one of those 3 days. That's what I'm gonna choose, and then we're gonna do a live streaming session. So definitely keep turn notifications on, look out for that. And yeah, I hope you guys having a great week, great month like we are. So definitely leave a comment below if you guys are having a great month. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below as well, and I'll try to get back to you guys. I just turned on my notifications for that because I realized I had them on for the other videos because I had a couple comments and I realized I didn't reply to them. It's because I didn't have the notifications turned on. I didn't even know I need to do that. I'm not a YouTube guy, so just kind of learning while I'm going through the process. But definitely leave a comment below if you have any questions, and yeah, see you guys on the live streams.